Assalamu alaikum to all my beautiful black brothers. This begins part one of my discussion on the black man must become studious. Now, when we examine the educational institutions throughout America, we see that it is pervasive in emitting a white supremacist doctrine that breeds an inferiority complex among our black brothers and produces a plethora of misinformation about who we are as black men. They have inoculated an image of black men that we are entertainers, that we are athletes, but let a black man be studious. Let a black man be productive in pursuing and acquiring knowledge. And this fundamentally damages and threatens the very core of their white supremacist doctrine that they have taught our people for over 400 years.
So we are going to be offering tips on what the black man must do and must do today in order to become studious. And this begins with beginning to refine our daily habits towards our objective, which is the obtainment and the acquisition of knowledge.
The art of war. He said that victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. How can we apply this advice in our academic studies? Fundamentally, we must get A's in the class before the semester even begins. Now, how do we go about doing this? Number one is that we must begin to prepare ourselves proactively. Your goal when you go to university, when you go to high school, when you sit in the class, your goal should be to master more of the given material than the professor. Now, this may seem like an unattainable goal, and it certainly is, but in striving for this goal, your mastery of the material will likely surpass most of the student body, and you will subsequently excel in the class. So we must be proactive before the semester even begins, and this is particularly pertinent in the summer semester, in which you have more time to look up courses and your materials in your prospective classes for the subsequent fall semester, instead of playing video games, 2K, whatever it is, instead of going out to the beach, instead of engaging in this world of sport and play and frivolous activities. What you need to be doing is researching your class material ahead of time. Talk to students who previously took the class before you to see if you can come across an old syllabi and begin a cursory review of the material. And if you cannot find the exact syllabus, based upon the title of your course, you should look and search for other syllabi online that has the subject of your class, and you should begin to research that material. For example, if I'm taking a class on international politics, begin Google searches for international politics syllabus, head to your local library and begin to check out books on the subject and begin to read it. Master the material before you even take the class. That is the first word of advice that I have for you. The next advice that I have is that we must literally refine our daily habits to become more conducive and more productive towards acquiring knowledge, and we must stump out all obstacles that come in our way of obtaining knowledge. And one common obstacle to the attainment of knowledge is that we spend entirely too much time listening to music. Anytime some latest rapper drops some garbage album, we just have to listen to it. We're constantly talking about music, and we waste too much time listening to idle music, which is of no benefit and does not increase us in knowledge. As black men, we need to have laws that determine when we listen to music, and it should be based upon the following stipulation: if the song is conscious, uplifting, and has an inspiring message that spreads knowledge. We must practice moderation when it comes to listening music. We can no longer allow hours of our day to go past in which all we have done is bump our heads to some songs. The human brain is a powerful muscle, and oftentimes you will find yourself memorizing lyrics of songs which you did not consciously seek to memorize. Stop treating your mind like a human waste dump, allowing it to be polluted with garbage in the form of idle music. There are some times that listening to music, it has its value, such as when working out. But all too often we find ourselves just sitting on the couch listening to songs with elementary rhymes and no real substance behind it. I call upon the black hip hop artists, utilize your creativity to make songs that spread knowledge to the masses based upon a multiplicities of subject. Make songs about algebra, calculus, astronomy, economics, trigonometry, and all branches of science. Furthermore, black brothers, listen to these songs. There's no problem in making songs that highlight. Ask yourself, what if we practice abstinence from listening to idle music and replaced it with productive lectures, ebooks, and more importantly, the Noble Quran? Brothers, download videos of free lectures on your smartphone and listen to it during your downtime instead of music. There are free lectures from various universities on a broad range of subjects, from microeconomics, from quantum physics to history. The next time you are driving, instead of playing music, listen to a lecture that will increase you in knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Now, the next word of advice is that this often occurs to many black brothers on the college campuses, because the so-called educational institutions of America, even at the most alleged intellectually rigorous universities such as Harvard, Yale, or Stanford, which are supposed to be centers of knowledge acquisition in which people advance themselves intellectually, they have become nothing more than centers of hedonistic centers of alcoholism and fornication and a plethora of other acts that are diametrically against the Quran. Many brothers at college campuses, they can become so infatuated with pursuing the opposite gender that all they can think about for the entire day is a particular sister, texting a sister all day. And there are some people who will actually ditch class and not go all out, giving full effort on their academic pursuits simply because they are more infatuated with the opposite gender. This is unacceptable. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teaches us, brothers, you have no right to even seek a woman if you don't seek knowledge first. Obtaining knowledge is a prerequisite before you can even think about pursuing a woman. As black men, we must begin to lower our gazes and guard our chastity. We cannot allow the pursuit of a woman to interfere with our academic studies. We cannot allow ourselves to be caught up in meaningless relationships which are going nowhere. We must instead of involving ourselves in meaningless boyfriend-girlfriend relationships, we must spend our times in more productive ways. Time spent idly texting the opposite gender could be time expanding your Arabic vocabulary. Time spent caking it, as it is often called, with the opposite gender on phone calls late at night, it could be spent contemplating advanced algebraic equations. Time spent daydreaming about a particular sister is time that could be spent reading and writing.